What's up, everybody? This is Steve Infante, and welcome to Cooking Up Trouble. Today, I'm going to be making a goat cheese mascarpone stuffed ravioli in a sage brown butter pistachio sauce. So let's get started, shall we? First thing we want to do is we're going to take our flour, we're going to add a little bit of salt, and we're just going to stir that dry ingredients together. Then we're going to form a little well inside the flour so that we can pour our eggs and also a little bit of olive oil inside. And what we want to do is we want to start folding together the flour into the well and get the egg and the oil as your moisture elements to start to form that dough. So you take your time. You don't want to over stir. You don't want to overdo anything. Just take your time and get it going. And then once the dough starts to form, we're going to knead it. So it's just basically a knead and fold kind of technique. We don't want to overdo it to activate too much of the gluten until we get it into a nice consistency. Then we're going to wrap it in some saran wrap, and we're going to stick it in the fridge to let it settle down. Then we're going to chop up a little bit of parsley. We're going to take a little bit of goat cheese, and we're going to put that into a bowl. Get started with a little bit more of the mascarpone cheese for our stuffing. We're going to start stirring that together, and then we're going to introduce the secret ingredient. And this is one that we can't use too much of, but we're going to use a little bit of truffle salt when we mix this together. And what that does is it brings that earthiness underneath the herbaceousness of the parsley and the creaminess of the cheese. So now that we have that, we're going to go back to the dough. We're going to take it out of the fridge, and we're going to chop it into thirds. And then we're going to start to roll it out. We want to get it ready to go through the pasta machine, and we want to keep it. We want to get it thin enough that it can start really going through the machine fine, and have it just be maybe 3 or so inches wide. And it doesn't need to be perfectly put together yet, because we're gonna carve it all up. Then we're gonna put it through the pasta machine. The key here is we don't want it to be too thin because the ravioli will break, and we don't want it to be too thick because then the ravioli is doughy. So finding that right thickness is very, very critical. So once we get done rolling it out, we trim off the edges, we get some nice sheets, and then we start putting the filling together. We add this filling across the bottom sheets of the pasta, and we're just going to do 4 here. Then we're going to egg wash the sides, and what that does is it helps bring a sealant to the ravioli when we put the top on. It really helps bind the dough together so that no water gets inside when we go ahead and boil. So now we take the top of the pasta, and the key here is we want to form a very, very tight seal around this the filling, so that there's no air pockets where water could get in and could take all of that flavor away. Then we're going to take our square ravioli cutout. We're going to go ahead and what this does is it seals the 4 sides of the ravioli, and it also forms our square. Once we get that done, we're going to take our knife out, and we're going to trim all of the edges, and we're going to form our ravioli. So once we get the ravioli all trimmed up nice, then we're just going to set it off to the side on a little plate. I like to use a fish spatula because everything's so thin and delicate. So once we got that going, let's get after this sauce, right? So we're going to take a half stick butter, get it going in the pan, melt that down. We want to do it on a low-medium heat. We don't want to over brown the butter too quickly. And while that's going on, we're going to drop that ravioli in. It takes about maybe 4 or 5 minutes. You got to wait till the raviolis float up to the top. So back to the brown butter, we add our chopped sage, stir that up. Then towards the end, we're going to add those chopped up and crushed pistachio. Now it looks like the ravioli are floating. They're about done. We're going to take them out. We're going to put them down and let them rest. We're also going to fry up a few sage leaves for a garnish at the end. We want to fry those up because sage is a very pungent flavor, and frying it will mellow it out. Then we go and we want to plate the ravioli, and we want to layer them on top of each other so we can get some height from a presentation perspective. We're going to take 1 spoonful of the brown butter sauce to get those nuts going, and then we're going to layer in the sauce on top of it. It's very rich, so you don't need a ton, but you do want to cover every part of the ravioli. You don't want a dry, doughy ravioli bite. Then we're going to take those nice sage leaves. We're going to take our tweezers and put those on top and just get that perfect presentation. We're going to finish up by adding a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top for a little salty Italian flair. Make sure the plate is nice and clean and perfect for presentation, and there you have it. sage brown butter pistachio sauce with a mascarpone goat cheese ravioli. Hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching, everybody. This is Steve Infante, and we're cooking up trouble. Please follow me on Instagram or Twitter at SteveInfante1. My hashtags are hashtag cooking up trouble, hashtag Steve Infante. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cooking Up Trouble.